Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are going to be reviewing all of New York Fashion Week. I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know, everything you don't need to know, and, you know, just spilling all the goddamn tea that needs to be spilled. We're pretty much going to be going through every show that I thought was either relevant, awful but relevant, or needs to become relevant because currently it's relevant. You know? Before we get any further into the video, I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsor for this video, which is Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. If you guys are wondering where my little cutie tracksuit is from, it's vintage Pierre Cardin. I saw it and I was like, all these other hoes are wearing their Balenciaga windbreakers, so let me be different. And here we are. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HotLamode. I post some pretty poppin' fashion memes, and honestly, my fashion memes currently are popping. Like, they're actually pretty good. I'm not even just lying to the camera. And if you guys want to see more of like my personal style, you can follow me at HotLamess. I'm trying to make it better, okay? Don't judge me. So, Fashion Week. Let's talk. So, New York Fashion Week was pretty New York Fashion Week. No, but seriously, like, New York has been pretty rough the past couple of seasons, and I think especially this season, people were really like, why are we here? Raf Simons left Calvin, Pure Moss by Kirby Jean Raymond didn't even show, and last season that was like the one show that everybody was like, oh my god, this is amazing. There wasn't really a fashion week, fashion show experience. That doesn't mean that designers did not show great collections, it just means the experience of running, dashing, and seeing these events of fashion shows wasn't happening in New York. Also, New York Fashion Week now currently starts with the New York Fashion Week men's collections, which is like 3 days before the actual Fashion Week starts. It's really not that good. Every year they say it's gonna die, but it never does, so I'm like, okay. But let's just talk about it because, you know. First up is Palomo Spain. Palomo Spain is an amazing brand. People love it. People are obsessed with it. And this season they took on the Ballet Russe, which is this famous French and Russian ballet. The models, who were really androgynous, as per usual, wore heavily pleated pants, skirts, and dresses, and either wore voluminous coats or tapered suits, and it was like honestly kind of cute. I will say, it was not the most revolutionary Palomo Spain collection I've ever seen. Also, Parker Kithill should have been given a much better look. Just saying. Then you had Nihl, which is done by Nihl Grotzeinger, which was actually really, really nice. The brand Nihl broke out when its embellished and embroidered leotards were a hit coming out of the Parsons Masters program, and like honestly I can't think of that many things that have come out of the Parsons Masters program that was like good recently. I'm not saying it was bad, I just can't think of anything. And this season, Nihl seems to have brought that gayed up version of sportswear back, and like, yes, or yes. From the sheer bodysuits to those really interesting gay erotica t-shirts that like honestly I still need, Nihl seems to actually be able to, you know, create something worth watching. And I'm kind of hoping that Nihl becomes one of the new brands that we talk about a lot more often. We're done with the men's though, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I don't even want to get into the mess of it all because like that's gonna take too long. Let's move into women's. Well, I guess maybe it's men's and women's because honestly, like, people are showing men's and women. It's very complicated. Nobody knows what's happening in New York. First up, we had Mr. Tom Ford. And Tom Ford graced us with this little blast from the past. He seemed to be saying, fuck it, I don't care what any of you think, and conjured a chic version of his early 2000s Gucci girl and said, oh, this is what you want? Here, take it. Fuck off. I don't care what you think anymore. He really was like, bitch, I don't give a shit. It's not for you. It's for my clients. So me and all the other fashion press were like, okay, like, all right, whatever, we'll take this. It's cute. I genuinely thought that the really colorful and bold silky fabric mixed amazingly with the really slim and tall tailored suits. It was really, really good. There also were amazing velvet looks, like you saw a reference back to the red Gwyneth Paltrow suit. It wasn't as good on GGT, but like, honestly, I'll take it. It's fine, I guess. Here's the thing. I guess for a while, I was kind of riding Tom Ford being like, bitch, you're so boring. You're so old. We already know this. We already know your girl. Like, ugh, who cares? But I think now I'm realizing more and more that I'd rather a designer like Tom Ford do what he does best instead of trying to reinvent his own wheel, because honestly, him trying to reinvent the wheel is just not that interesting. And you know what the one thing is? He hasn't tried to like turn himself into like a streetwear mogul, and he hasn't made sneakers, and he hasn't like done streetwear. So like, you know what? I'm with Tom. Moving on swiftly, let's talk about Maryam, Nassir, Zadeh, and Collina Strada. These are two of the more bohemian brands in New York, and there's been some quiet rumblings about them for the past few seasons. But let's start with Maryam, Nassir, Zadeh, or M&Z as we like to say. If you're in the know, you're in the know. The collection was actually quite chic. Somehow Maryam took these bold patterns and these really beautiful leather pieces and just kind of made them stand out on a runway, and it was really nice. The thing is, the clothing looked like it had been worn, like it was secondhand in a way, but somehow she still made it look luxurious. A lot of the times you see collections and it looks like people literally raided a vintage store and just threw it on a runway. It felt vintage, it felt like it was secondhand, but it was in a nice fabric. It was well put together. It was simple, it was crisp, it was clean, it was nice. And we don't get that often, so I was low-key about it. Collina Strada, on the other hand, was doing this whole tie-dye motion, which like, now I'm suddenly into tie-dye. Weird. And she also used dead stock fabric. I don't know if you guys know what dead stock fabric is. Essentially, it's like fabric that other people said, yikes, I don't want that. So often designers or design students will take that and run with it. And essentially it's kind of like secondhand fabric that would just go to waste if it wasn't sold. So for a brand like Collina Strada, which is really trying to make a name for itself, taking dead stock fabric, when brands often buy fabric from mills or make their own fabrics, she took that fabric and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna use this dead stock fabric, which is somebody else's design, somebody else created it for, you know, whatever other purpose. She made it her own and put out a great fucking collection, and then also was like, guys, like, climate change, we're all gonna die. And I was like, wow, same, like, me. So honestly, I'm actually really proud. I think that's really hard for a brand to really step outside of itself and say, you know what, we're gonna really make something else work. And they did it, and it was cute, and it's chic. Then there was Ralph Lauren, which was kind of nice in a way. I don't know. It felt like it was a luxurious set, which is like nice from a New York brand. And it felt like it was either like an admiral's daughter or his really young, skinny sugar baby, because she was wearing these like white suits, and it was like, oh, she's on her Sunsinker jacket. It was like kind of nice. Obviously, there are some like real taste factors. I mean, Ralph Lauren is literally trying to sell to WASPs. For anybody that doesn't know what a WASP is, it's a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. So like bougie fucking white people that hate everybody but themselves. So keep that in mind. Like, you have to create ugly things because they wear ugly things. But there were actually some really beautiful standout looks, and I was like, okay, Ralph Lauren. Wow. What's next? Ooh, Telfar. Okay, I'm really excited to talk about Telfar. Telfar, if you guys do not know, is done by Telfar Klemens, who I really enjoy. And Telfar this season didn't really have a runway. It had a mosh pit. Yeah. Essentially, the models walked out for like 3 or 4 steps and then literally crowd surfed through the concert hall, wherever they were. The collection was very Telfar, but it was also really, really gorgeous. There were these blazers that were like cut down the side, so they look sort of like capes. It was like really nice. And then something I also really love about Telfar is the way that they kind of scrap together clothes. So like there are these denim shorts, but then they have pieces of leather like sewn on top of them, and they make it look really luxurious. So you're like, oh, I want those. Where did those come from? Give me them. What else was in there? Sometimes it can get like a little bit Helmut Lang-y in a way, but for the most part, like, honestly, I really love it. I love the reusing of like old sweaters and the sort of like vintage sportswear aspect. It just really, it was a good collection. It was very Telfar. It was nice. So then in the middle of the week, like literally I wasn't expecting this, there was this show that everybody was like talking about, and it's by this Japanese designer named Tomo Koizumi, and he put out this like insane, colorful ruffle collection in the middle of the Marc Jacobs pop-up store. Okay, sorry, don't know. I've been watching a lot of Little Women Atlanta. And so he did these like crazy ruffle gowns, like Rowan Blanchard walked it, Taylor Hill walked it. It was pretty much put on by Katie Grand, who's like Marc Jacobs' stylist, and also she does Prada and Miu Miu, and she runs Love Magazine. So she like found him on Instagram apparently and was like, oh my god, he's so amazing. And so he apparently created this whole collection in 3 weeks in Marc Jacobs' studio. There was like this elaborate story. Here's the thing. Was it nice? Yes. Was it something I'd seen before? Also, yes. Was it something that really like kind of made a little joyful occasion in the middle of New York Fashion Week, which was so fucking boring for the most part? Yeah, so you know what? I'll take it. Also, Gwendolyn Christie, can you please wear this on the last season of Game of Thrones, please? Thank you. Honestly, thinking about it, this might be actually a really good collection for the Met Gala for this year, because the theme is camp, which is like over the top and crazy. Tomo Koizumi, like, get on that. Somebody let him know, you know? Oh, Jeremy Scott. So he put out this collection and I was like, oh my god, like this is really great. I'm so excited. Like it's actually good. It referenced his fall 2018 menswear collection. Like cool. I gave it a good review. It used like newspaper. So like they had the New York Post, and like it's not really original because Elsa Schiaparelli did it. John Galliano also did it. But I was like, you know, like okay, cool. But then it came out the next day that he copied a London fashion designer, and that's the second time in 2 seasons that he's been called out for copying. So, girl, you got something to say? Like, what's up? So yeah, that was kind of gross. That sucked. Next up was Eckhaus Latta, and Eckhaus Latta, again, continuing in that like bohemian fashion moment that's happening in New York. They put out an okay collection. I wouldn't say it was their best. Definitely not. Apparently they were playing with the idea of tailoring. I wouldn't know. Wasn't invited to the show like most of these fucking shows this season. It's fine. Yeah, they played with tailoring. Would I say, oh my god, it was amazing? No. But I think that they really are strong in their knitwear. It's very chic. You know, they always do that well every season, I'll be honest. I like that faux fur, actually. There were multiple faux furs that I was like, ooh, cute. Okay, I love that. So yeah, Eckhaus Latta, you know, okay. So the boys from Project Runway, they put out collections. Brandon Maxwell, apparently the collection was based around his mother who was sick, and he was talking about this idea of armor and, you know, really like protecting yourself with clothing. And unless I had read the review and other people talking about it, I would have literally never known that from this collection. Like this collection literally, you could put any adjectives in front of it, like any storyline, and I'd be like, okay. I just don't see that. Like I really truly don't see like armored clothes. Like yeah, are there like military influences in it? Sure. You know, are there big gowns? Like yeah, but I don't feel like the raw emotion that everybody is talking about is shown in the garments, and that's kind of like, you know, isn't that the point? Like, if you really have these raw emotions that you're meant to be putting into a collection, shouldn't I be able to tell that it's like a raw, very emotional collection? Then there was Christian Siriano, and he really tried it. The thing about Christian Siriano is like the taste level is just really not there. Like, I can't really talk about it a lot because it's gonna give me a headache. There were some looks that I was like, okay, like there was that faux fur look that was belted, and I was like, okay. But then like you get into this like Judy Jetson hooker, and you're like, what's happening? Where is she going with these things? There's like cellophane over this poor young woman's breasts, and it's meant to look like a sheer top, but it's like, girl, it looks like cellophane. No, it just doesn't look good, and I feel bad because like, if this is the only designer that is doing, you know, he's not the only designer, but if this is one of the designers that is leading the diverse body range charge in the fashion industry, like, no. We need somebody that actually has like design chops and that actually can like put out an interesting collection that knows how to create clothing for bigger women. Sorry, just saying. And also Diet Prada was like, bitch, that's a Valentino dress. And he was like, that person's fired from my studio. And I was like, girl, it was probably you. So I'm sitting like this now. Oh, Sies Marjan. Okay, let's talk about Sies. I really like Sies Marjan, and 2 seasons ago, they put out that like neon ombre collection, and it was beautiful. Like literally, it's so beautiful. It was the most beautiful collection I think I'd ever seen from New York. It felt like, oh my God, like there's something here. Like there's something here. And then last season, the set was beautiful, but the clothing wasn't really that good. And then this season, again, the set was beautiful. They used this like glitter sand, but the clothes, they fell flat for the most part. The suiting was spectacular. It was beautiful. And like, even if like a neon yellow suit is not your thing, you can't not appreciate the beautiful darts in the front and the way that the body is cinched. And the blue and purple matching leather tailored looks like, oh my God, like who did it? Who made those suits? Because they're beautiful. They are beautiful. But the collection, for the most part, did this sort of layering where it played with lace and it was all over the place and it was like gathered and like it was weird. And the thing is, I don't know if that's like what you want to do, right? Like, I feel like if you want to make beautiful clothes, make beautiful clothes. And the thing is, I feel like Sies has a real niche in the way that he gathers clothes and twists them and all that kind of stuff. And he has done it really, really beautifully in the past. But this season, like, that was not it. The way that it was gathered, it looked like draping wet towels on your clothesline. Like, it just was not sexy. There was one look that, you know, almost finished the collection, and it was black, and it had those sort of twisted and gathered elements, and it was bodycon, and it was beautiful, and it was very Sies, but it was like, give me more of that and give me less of this art project, please. Thank you. Then there was Prabal Gurung, and I love Prabal so much, but this season was not it. The thing is, I love when Prabal does prints, because he does prints really, really well and really, really beautifully. But I feel like a lot of this collection wasn't revolving around prints, and if the prints were involved, they were either like draped weird, they just were in weird cuts. The end of the collection where it was like the glitter, ombre, neon print with the sheer fabric, like that was great. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was magical. But just like the princess gown, it wasn't that, you know, it was like nice, but like, a lot of the neon colors was very like 80s, but like not in a good way. It was just like, oh no. Yeah, not my favorite Prabal collection, which was sad. And then speaking about my man, Zac Posen, Zac Posen did this beautiful lookbook. It was shot by Michael Avedon, who was like the grandson of Richard Avedon. And it starred amazing people, like there was a princess from Greece and like Mr. Chow's daughter. It was kind of like gorgeous. And it was shot in a way that really highlighted the fact that Zac Posen is a craftsman. The way that he creates clothing is beautiful. It's like architecture. It's like construction. It really highlighted the fact that the man makes a beautiful fucking dress, okay? And I felt like since Zac has been doing lookbooks rather than shows for the past few seasons, I kind of feel like it gave a context to the clothing that I don't think a runway show particularly can do. For certain brands that have a shit ton of money, like a Dior or a Louis Vuitton or a Chanel, where you make these big experiences for people, yes, like that is a fashion show. Those are still gonna happen. But for smaller brands who putting on a fashion show isn't necessarily all that cost effective, all that necessary, creating a lookbook that really pushes forward your imagery, really pushes forward your clothing, and really gives a context to your customer and to everybody looking to your brand, I think that's smart. I think that's the new way that brands should be looking to go. Because honestly, 10 out of 10 times, I'd rather see a beautifully shot lookbook than I'd rather see just another collection on a runway. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. And then Proenza Schouler happened, and honestly, I've never been happier to give somebody a shitty review. Last season, I gave Proenza it was awful. I felt really bad even doing it, but like, it was necessary because that shit was whack. This season, they put out the most Proenza beautiful current collection. Like, it was great. Was it just another Proenza collection? Yes. But was it, you know, putting beautiful dresses under beautiful pants with amazing shoes and big old bags and really like giving that sportswear Americana new wave of fashion? Yes. And I think I realized that I'd rather take that than trying to reinvent the brand and trying to do a secondary line and trying to do this and that to change it and to become fashion. Like, no, literally give me your good shit. Like, give me what I want. I just bought a Proenza fucking sweater because I was like, that sweater is amazing. So I saw this season and I was like, holy shit, I want all of the pants. Give me the pants. And then there was that like armpit cutout dress, which is so Proenza. Like, I love a good Proenza cutout. And I was like, honestly, as soon as that dress comes in a sweater form, or honestly, even if it's in a dress form, I'm going to purchase it if it's on good enough sale. So Proenza, please keep doing this. I'm very proud. Mommy's happy. The Row put out a collection, and honestly, it continues to be the definition of subtle luxury. You want to talk about subtle luxury? The Row. And seeing as how we live in a world that is post Phoebe Philo at Celine, and not many people besides somebody like Claire White Keller as Givenchy is doing, you know, this sort of beautiful modern woman clothing, it's nice to see The Row. I think it's very simple, but it's beautifully cut. Those turtlenecks were amazing. I don't even know what kind of turtlenecks they are. I feel like they invented a new kind of turtleneck. You know, it's not just like a roll neck. It's not just like a short little tight one. It's like big and she's flowy and she's, you know, relaxed. She's herself. It's gorgeous. It doesn't just relate to like fashion people. It relates to like actual other human beings that aren't crazy like us. It's just gorgeous clothes. And I'm so happy that The Row is just being the fucking Row. It doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks. Then I think we should also talk about this Philip Plein thing. So I posted about it on Instagram because I was like, this is gross. But there's this fashion writer. Her name is Alexandra. She's very nice, very smart. So she posted this review about the Philip Plein show. And so this Philip Plein show, it was like at this restaurant, and Philip Plein was like, yeah, we're going to party. Oh yeah, clothing. And so the collection happened, and like honestly, it wasn't the worst Philip Plein collection I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't like awful. But she essentially pretty much didn't get a seat at the show. She was made to be standing room at this sit-down dinner fashion show, even though she was invited and she was assured she was going to have a sitting seat. I'd be annoyed too. Like, yeah, bitch, you said I was gonna have dinner and then there was no dinner for me and I was standing. But no, so she wrote a critique, and it was a valid critique because, like, honestly, the clothing was not that great. Philip Plein is not an amazing designer that you're like, oh my god, Philip Plein, like, oh, McQueen, oh, they're so, like, similar. No, he makes, like, shitty fucking streetwear and sells it for a ridiculous amount of money. It's literally Forever 21, 2 seasons in advance with a lot of embellishment for $990. Like, that's what he does. But Philip Plein read this review, and then he started posting on his Instagram story, essentially saying like, oh, you're just upset because you didn't get to eat at my show, so you're fat. Next time, I'll make sure that, like, you get to eat, so you'll give me a good review. And it was, like, gross. Like, you're a douche. Why would you do that? Like, I understand you run a brand. I understand, like, you put effort into that collection. You didn't, though. I get that. But the thing is also, like, be like, girl, your punctuation is off. Girl, like, you didn't get a seat. Like, that's why you're mad. Like, that's why, whatever. Those things, fine. But, like, saying, oh, like, you're actually, like, fat and that's why you didn't like my show. Gross, you know? Bro, like, don't, that's gross. Like, we're not about that. Like, and also, somebody critiques your show. You say, you know what, fuck you, that's fine. I understand. Don't, like, take personal jabs at people. That's not cute. So, yeah, Philip Plein, a douche. Not shocking. Is it? It shouldn't be. Then there was Coach and Stuart Vevers. If you guys do not know, Stuart Vevers, he does coach. He does coach the house down. But he's been doing this whole Americana varsity, you know, Little House on the Prairie thing for seasons. It's been seasons. Like, it's been seasons. And after the last collection, it was like, oh, girl, again with the fucking prairie. Like, burn it down. This season, he like went for this futuristic vibe, and it was like, okay, like I see the Americana Prairie Girl in there, but like it looks sort of updated, so I'm like, all right. And then he put these Coach logo shearling coats on the runway and vests. And also I feel like the Coach logo hasn't had a revival, which is weird to me because we really were like going through that whole logo trend, but the Coach logo just never had the revival. So I was confused. So I'm just like interested to see whether or not the Coach logo is gonna be back in style. Next up is Oscar de la Renta, and Fernando and Laura did this whole collection based on this like mosque, which is also a church in Cordoba, Spain, which is somewhere that Oscar de la Renta really liked to go when he was still alive. And so they put on this collection, and it had these like plants, which was very reminiscent of like Monse. So they added this like chic sort of Monse sensibility to the collection, as they always do. And they used these like beautiful like spice colors, and they ranged from like bright orange to like muted orange. It was very chic. Oh yeah, there were all these florals, and they were very diverse and different. You know, they were nice, and I really loved the sort of like tapestry looks. It was like gorgeous. It was like wrapping your really rich body in tapestries. It was kind of gorgeous. I loved it. And then they were putting out these like velvet looks. And honestly, I've never wanted to lick velvet ever, but like now I do. There were some dresses that I was a bit yikes about. They were like these quilted dresses. And I understand that, again, the Oscar customer, I'm sure, is like very waspy. White people love quilted jackets. Like literally the royal family like lives in quilted pieces. Like my mom is English and she's like, oh my god, quilted, oh I love it. So it's like, it's white people love that shit. So that was yikes. I didn't love that. But then the collection ended off pretty nice, and it had all these like beautiful embellishments that sort of reminded you of the mosque / Catholic churchy, you know, vibes. And then they did a blue version of the gown that Gemma Chan wore, and I was like, oh, the pleats. And honestly, that kind of pleating it's growing on me slowly but surely. And then honestly, Bella Hadid closed the show, and she looked like a beautiful Gothic bride. And I assume, again, that runs into that like mosque, Catholic church, you know, historical aspect. And so it was a good collection. Will I say it was the most fashion-forward Oscar collection I've seen from Laura and Fernando? No. Was it a good stop along the journey that is Oscar de la Renta by Fernando Kim and Laura Garcia? No, Laura Kim and Fernando Garcia. Yes, that it was that. Then there was Michael Kors, and Michael Kors, like, okay, bitch, whatever. He did this whole collection, and it was very 70s. It was like Diana Ross, the boss, Studio 54, you know, every single 70s stereotype that you could think of was in this collection. Now, will I say, oh my god, it was awful? No, because like, you know, it looked kind of nice. There were these really good shearling coats. There were these really good feather boas. There were nice clothes in there, but also would I ever look at this and say, oh my god, that's Michael Kors? Absolutely not. Like, no, literally never. I literally could look at this collection and I would have no idea it was Michael Kors. There's like no design aesthetic. There's no like stamp, technique, fabric, style, silhouette that is Michael Kors. And so I'm just like, oh god, why? Like, why are you such a big brand? I don't understand. So yeah, Michael Kors, please stop. And then our boy Marc Jacobs, finished off the season. He continued on his big, voluminous experience, which is what Marc has been doing for like the past, I don't know, like 6 or 7 seasons. And it was a good collection. I can't lie. It was a very good collection. You know, it was very Marc. And I think that there were certain things that nobody else really could do. I mean, nobody else could mix leopard, stripe, and polka dot and live to tell the tale. But like Marc Jacobs does it somehow, and you're like, okay, all right, I'm down with that. And he mixes these colors and this sort of dark gothic vibe really, really well. But I will say, I think it did leave me wanting a little bit more. There definitely were really, really beautiful aspects of the collection, but wasn't like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, I'm gonna die. Like, it was a great collection, but it wasn't like me standing up and clapping, you know, encore, encore, which is fine. I don't think a brand has to do that every single season. I'm just saying that this wasn't a crazy, insane over-the-top collection. I will say, I was obsessed with a few different looks. The feather looks, gorgeous. I'm obsessed. They're so beautiful. That short little light blue dress, stunning. And then there was this amazing, it's not really a gown, it's more of a dress, but this big, beautiful train. And so it was black, and then there's this light blue on the underside, and it was gorgeous, and I'm obsessed with it, and I loved it. And then all of the feather gowns. So there was a feather gown in this like light dusty pink. There was one in a dark navy blue. And then there was one that was just in like a really dark, almost blackish purple. And Krista Charlington closed the show in one of them. Lindsay Wixon wore the navy blue one. Like, it was really gorgeous. It really was beautiful. The dress, gorgeous. I really want people to like actually start wearing these dresses, and I want Marc Jacobs to actually sell runway pieces, because when I go online and I look for Marc Jacobs stuff, it's not ever like the runway pieces, and I don't know if they think it's not going to sell, but like, you know, there were really gorgeous things that he creates, and I feel like recently everybody's been like, Marc is dying, the clothes are over, the brand is done, it's just kaput. And I don't agree with that. I think that there are really amazing things that come out of each season of Marc Jacobs, and I feel like they're really not given their dues. So that's kind of sad. But, you know, Marc closed out New York Fashion Week, and it was one of the most exciting shows of the week.
Let's talk about Squarespace a little bit more. Maybe you're a fashion designer, maybe you're an illustrator, a photographer, a marketer, a fireman, I don't know. But you need somewhere to put all of your work. And honestly, you need something that's going to be clean, crisp, effective, because let's be real, a website also now doubles as a portfolio. And if your portfolio looks like a mess, well, you're not going to get that job, that opportunity, that internship, whatever you're looking to do. So you want a pretty good website to make sure that your work, which is pretty good, is going to be highlighted in all the best ways. Their interface is easy. They have templates so that you don't have to worry about designing and coding your own website. And as somebody that is working on developing a website, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I can honestly say it's so easy, and I'm testimonialing that I love it. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/hotlamode to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
So that is it. That's the end of the video. That's all you're going to get out of me. We're going to be doing a whole London video, a whole Milan video, and a whole Paris video, so don't worry. This is going to happen for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, guess what? Get prepared, bitch. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what some of your favorite collections were. If I didn't talk about any collections, like, let me know the ones you thought were so amazing. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I will see you guys on the next video, and TTYL.